Beep, 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 beep. Oh, just what? What's going on? I ask myself as we plumb the depths of the NHS, the National Health Service. We're going to have to rename it soon, you know what? Really, honest to God. Right, so I've got somebody here from the Daily Fail, right? What are they doing? What are they playing at? What are they playing at? Right, so let's have a look and see, because the NHS is accused of trying to erase women, as dozens of trusts sign up to the Rainbow Badge scheme that marks down hospitals for using words like mother. Why are they upset? Well, I don't understand this, right? I've been trying to get my head around it, right? So dozens of hospitals are signed up to be graded by trans rights charities who tell them to stop using the terms mother and women. Angry MPs have called for ministers to step in after 77 trusts, there's only 200 in the country, join the NHS Rainbow Badge scheme, which rewards them for dropping gendered language from policies, forms and signs. The trust gains points for referring to maternity patients as clients and calling cervical screening clinics colposcopy instead of women's health. Colposcopy? Colposcopy. What? That's a word I don't like saying. It sounds like, you know, a musician. Ladies and gentlemen, playing for us tonight, the zither, colposcopy. Down and down and down and down, down and down and down and down. It's absolutely insane, right? So I've been trying to get me noodle around it. What's going on? What? Right, why? Because they've done Stonewall. They rise up the ranks. We've had all that crap, right? They're still doing it, some of them. Now along comes another one. There's about a dozen of them now going on. There's one in Manchester called, you know, Licorice All Sorts or something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's more nonsense, right? So they want to sign up. Now why? So I've been trying to understand. When you think about it from an organisationally psychological point of view, the NHS, right? Why? So let's think about how the NHS, to me, in my mind, is structured, right? Or is, you know, no, I'm not talking about hierarchical, pyramidal. I'm not talking about management structure. I'm not talking about the structure of it from an organisational perspective in that way. I'm talking about how is it structured culturally and in the minds of the people that work for the NHS, right? So I imagine if you work for the NHS, right, or you work for a company that works for the NHS, you've got the people who come in from outside, who I imagine are managed by large firms. So OCS, you know, these big firms that go, right, let's get 250 cleaners in. And then the NHS goes, you manage this contract, in you go. So I imagine first off, you've got the people that go into the NHS and in they pop, and they're the cleaners and the people that look after making sure the wards are clean, making sure that everything's emptied, the real sort of basic stuff of ensuring that the hospital can run, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's, you know, that's where we're at. That's the people that are sort of at the core of it, make the damn thing function to begin with. Are the lights on, right? Is somebody taking that poo off the chair? You know, that kind of thing? That was in Getting On. Do you remember Getting On with Joe Brandt? How good was that? Well, some woman, it was set in a geriatric ward. If you've never seen Getting On, shame on you, right? Okay. Set in some old woman took a dump on a chair and they had to sort of label it off, you know, like that. Getting On. It's great. Good stuff. I've talked about that before. I'm repeating myself again. Right, so, okay. In they come, do their work. They're at the centre, right? So they get it going. Right, once that happens, it sort of goes, and it moves out. Then you've got, in come, the people that keep the nurses and the doctors working. So you've got people like porters and people that manage the equipment and people that do X, Y, Z and the people on reception who, you know. So then that's them, right? And then next you've got the nurses and doctors who do the damn job of whatever their particular thing may be. Now, it strikes me as, along with a wee bit of administrative support, that's where we are, right? Okay? Can you think, or do you think, because I do you think they're all there going, my God, the NHS, rainbow things will be here shortly. They're on their way. I've never been happier. I must tell you that I've never been happier. And so tell me, why does this make you so happy? Well, the NHS Rainbow Badge scheme is obviously going to improve our ability to save patients that are dying from awful diseases, but also to, you know, put splints in legs and do what we do. And there's a chap over there with sepsis I might want to deal with in a minute. Can I just ask you some more questions about the NHS Rainbow Badge scheme? Yes, it's a small badge. It's rectangular, and I'm dying over here. I'll be with you in a minute. Do you mind? This is important. It's about inclusion. Yeah, but I'm dying. Nurse, sedate him. This is terrible, right? So they've got this rainbow badge scheme. The trusts gain points, as I've already said, and the former cabinet minister last night accused the NHS of being willing to erase women so they can please radical, ideologically driven campaign groups. Oh yes. Oh gosh. Cannot be surprised, right? So all those people that I described are all there going, oh, it's fantastic, I'm so glad it's coming. Are they monkey? They don't want anything to do with this crap. They want to get on with their damn job. They want to do their job, and they do it well. Okay, I can tell you, I've used them a number of times. They do it well, all right, okay? So who's behind all this shit? It's got HR. Do you reckon HR? HR out. That's what we need. People outside NHS hospitals going, fire your HR staff. They're doing you dirt. Right, get rid of them. So the scheme is commissioned by NHS England, right? So this is not like somebody knocking on the door of, the local NHS hospital in, Druitt-on-Sea. Is the manager in? Yeah, I've come to talk to you about our rainbow badge. Have you let Jesus into your life yet? Right? It's not that. This is NHS England. I know, it's just outrageous. NHS England are in bed with the likes of Stonewall and the LGBT Foundation who carry out the grading. Right, so these are the people going in, these leftist lunatics, right? These real nutter far left, so far left that the dildo of left death is up their backside, right? These that going into the NHS and going, yeah, right, well, what we've got, this isn't inclusive enough yet. I've still got sepsis. He doesn't shut up, does he? They also tell hospitals to introduce gender-neutral toilets and get medics to ask patients their pronouns, leading to fears that the lobby groups are dictating NHS policy. What do you mean fears? They are dictating NHS policy. Can you imagine that? I go to hospital, I'm like, I'm taken in because I broke my leg. That happened once, right? So I broke my leg, and in I go, eyes a kite on morphine. And they lie me down in the bed and go, first thing they do is go, Barry, can you tell us what your pronouns are, please? And me being eyes a kite on morphine would have absolutely no boundaries whatsoever. Can you imagine? They'd get it, wouldn't they? What would be the first thing I'd say? Beep, 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 beep. Eyes a kite on morphine. Listen here, you arsewipe. And that would be it, off we go, right? They also tell hospitals to introduce these things so that, they can cause trouble. Here's an example. We've got some examples of how mad it gets. Does the Trust have family and leave policies which use gender-neutral language and explicitly state that they are applicable regardless of gender? Do clinics have gendered name, for example, women's health? Or are they named for the purpose, for example, colposcopy, he's back. Down, 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 down. All right, Cole. Has patient information, leaflets and standard letters, been reviewed to ensure language is gender neutral or gender inclusive? Go away! Leave the NHS alone. What's this costing, this crap, and what's the knock-on effect of it? How much is it actually costing? Right? How bad does it get? Are patients routinely asked what their pronouns are, for example, he, she, they, or ze? On patient forms, is there an option with the gender section to select non-binary? How does the Trust enable non-binary employees to have their identities recognised within the work environment? This is just the beginning. This ends up costing a fortune in administration alone. And they'll build a huge bureaucracy that will sit at the very centre of the NHS, embedded in the brain of the service, like a tumour. That's what they'll do. Okay? Because that's what they do. What's this about? Where is the government? Where is the people saying it ends and it ends now? Absolute unmitigated garbage perpetrated by absolute unmitigated garbage merchants from Stonewall, the LGBT Foundation, the LGBT Consortium, whichever bunch of bum-peering wazzocks are involved this time. You go to the NHS, you go in, you come out better than you went in. Sometimes. Sometimes you don't make it, but that's what you hope. Every time I've been in, I've gone in bad, I've come out better. Right? Let doctors doctor, let nurses nurse, and let those that support the NHS in terms of keeping it running. Can you imagine they get with this? You get the manager in HR or the middle manager, the bureaucrat that's got no job if this crap exists, and they get in front of the people that are actually keeping the damn place going, and they start spouting this rubbish, right? And they're sitting there going, I'm getting minimum wage for this, what's the point? What's the point? And then the company that supplies it, so the big company, that they've gone, right, well, NHS England will get you to do this, you have this contract. will have to do the same thing, because that's how it works. That's how it works. You don't get the contract if you don't play game with this, inclusivity, LGBTQ crap. What, let me know what you think. What do you think? Should it be okay? Should it not be okay? Let's start a conversation down there. We know what you think. Right, but you can tell me in the doobers anyway, and I'll see you later. NHS Rainbow flag testicle crap. I'll see you later.